xRhythms.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here today we have Josiah Lowe. Josiah, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing today?
I'm good. So, let's start at the beginning. You've said your parents were missionaries. Can you start off by telling us a little bit about, well, from your perspective, what a missionary does and how it was having that as part of your life?
Yeah, so honestly, it's really cool. And my parents, I was 3 years old when they really got called into ministry, and it was kind of really cool. My dad's background was in accounting and is incredible at that kind of thing, and still actually has some things today that he does, but he really felt the Lord was just stirring on his heart and was like, we're going to go into ministry. And for a lot of people, like, ministry can be a lot of things. It could just mean working in churches. You know, a lot of people have different understandings of that, but for him it was, he wants to help churches, with, you know, younger churches getting started, like with financing and budgeting and all that kind of stuff. There's a skill with that, but really it became part of wanting to see unity in a world that's, you know, very disunit, you know, and a lot of people not, you know, working together, especially in the body of Christ. It started out just working with one church at a time, and it kind of evolved by 2008, 2009, when I was probably 8 or 9, we moved to New Orleans right after Hurricane Katrina. And there was just so much damage in Louisiana at that time from the big hurricane. And not only just physical damage, but people just in shambles because they lost homes and lost families, and you know how that can kind of be in tragedy. It really just taught me a lot of things about, for me, the most important thing is like, life's not just about me. That's one of the biggest lessons that I got to learn from just even being a part of parents who are like, hey, there's so much more there than just us. Missionary can be a lot of different things. It can be going to different countries, and my parents' heart was, hey, we're going to help America, you know, and churches here, because again, there's a mission field right where you are, and I think a lot of people sometimes miss that. It's like, hey, well, missions have to be this and that. I'm like, no, missions can be wherever you are, and if you really believe in the gospel, it's like, do it where you're at, you know what I'm saying?
Fantastic. So you brought up going to New Orleans after Katrina.
Yeah. And
some places say that's where you started making your own music. That's true?
Yeah. So I was real young when I was in New Orleans. I was 12 when I really started, because I didn't even know what hip-hop was, actually, and kind of just found it. We were actually a part of a church in inner city New Orleans, and the pastor was a dude that was super inner city, you know, grew up gangs, all that kind of stuff, got saved, and brought hip-hop into like the church. And I was like, what is this? You know, this is super cool. And so that's kind of where it started a little bit, yeah.
At what point through that did you figure, okay, there's something here I like, I'm going to take that and run with it in my own way? When did that start?
Basically, it was funny because it was like the music every week, like the special music every week was a different person in our church that was like a different artist and like came up and would rap, and it was like, this is super cool. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to start kind of messing with it. And so it's actually kind of funny. It is still on YouTube, but when I was 12, I made like a rap for my mom's birthday, and it was like the first thing I ever did. And it's super cheesy, obviously, but I'm 12 years old, so we got to have some grace for that. I found Lecrae at, you know, like 2008 Lecrae, like Rebel Days and all that kind of stuff when he was really starting to get bigger. And I was like, this is super dope. Like, because again, I didn't really have, unlike most people who are exposed to like secular hip-hop before Christian hip-hop, I didn't even know hip-hop was a thing. And so I got exposed to Christian hip-hop even before secular rap. So it's kind of cool, you know what I mean?
Well, I think I'm going to go find that video on YouTube, see if I can find it.
It's there somewhere. I can't tell you where it is, but it is out there somewhere.
Oh, I'll find it, hopefully. On our playlist, we have your track Standard. What can you tell us about that track in your own words? Because I've written about it, but I want to hear what your thoughts and specific inspirations for that were.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, honestly, that song, for one, it has done so well, more than I would have ever thought. It's all organically like grown on Spotify to over 20,000 streams, which I'd have never thought could happen. In circles that I'm in a lot, we get so caught up on rules and following law and following, you know, like we're just trying to be good people and all these kinds of things, and they're not bad things in nature, but I kind of get sick and tired of it being about a system and being about this and that, and because again, as a believer, I believe that we're just held to a standard in everything that we do. Actually, if you get real detailed into it, it's pretty cool. In the Bible, Paul actually writes to the church, and he's like, He's like, the law was only ever in place for you to know that you have sin in you. Like, the law was not meant to be like, this is what you live by. You live towards what God is saying. I don't want to just be a guy that's just trying to do rules. I want to be living a life that's honoring to God in everything that I do. And so in my music is going to be great. The way I interact with people, I'm going to try and be humble and honest and really, because I think people appreciate authenticity. And so that's really kind of where my heart for the song came from. You're going to hear me talking about drugs and women in a bad way and alcohol and, all this kind of stuff that the world is pushing in hip-hop. I'm going to be against that and put Jesus in it. But I'm a big proponent of, I love metaphors and wordplay.